Hey, we're back. Welcome back to Sailing Appalachia. Yeah, we're still around. We just took the summer off. Yeah, we had some things happen through the summer, death in the family, and yeah, we've been really busy. Again, remember, this is a hobby for us, and we've just invited you along for the ride. Yeah, we're back to it now. We have been shooting video all summer. It was a pretty jam-packed summer of adventure. So, Canon project's finished. So is the Acrimony project. We did take her to the Finger Lakes region of up in the New England states and got to sail down the Niagara River and even attack the old Fort Niagara on Lake Ontario. So we have videos that are in production now, coming out soon. So stay with us. We're going to insert a video series here for an upcoming trip that might help us out and help out some other sailors. And it is a detailed description of all the boat launches on the West Coast mainland side of the Sounds. So, sit back and enjoy. And maybe this is a know before you go type video that will help you out with launching successfully and safely. So, cup of coffee and yeah, check it out. So Amanda and I wrapped up the trip there on the Roanoke and had a few days left over. So we decided that, hey, we'll just go over to Manio, hang out for a couple days, and enjoy the banks. So with the weather being kind of lousy, we decided not to put a Humblick on the Sound, given that she's so small. So we explored. We went all the way down the Croatan, I believe that's pronounced properly, spelled Croatan or Croatan, but Croatan Sound, all the way down to Pamlico, and checked out all the boat launches. Our first boat launch profile is in Manio. And Manio is famous for its boat building school and sailing school. And man, the harbor is so picturesque. It's an ideal place to launch for a day of sailing. You've got Poor Richard's sandwich shop and the brewery. They're added attractions, so it's easy to spend the entire day here. I guess the drawbacks to this area is the bridge that crosses over to the Visitor Center Island is much way too low for a mast to pass underneath. And again, another drawback is the lack of parking for larger boat trailers and pulling vehicles. However, there is a small parking area. It's provided just left of the launch. This access allows an individual to navigate the entire Sound, actually all the way to the Oregon Inlet and into the Atlantic Ocean. So it's full access to the Sounds. After we left Manio, Amanda and I traveled south on Route 264 to Stumpy Point. Stumpy Point is a wide open harbor with plenty of room to maneuver. I would caution though, with all the rock on the shoreline there, you got to make sure that you don't get in any trouble and let the boat get away from you. If you notice in the background, the dock has plenty of tie-off points, which allows us, of course, to load our provisions and stuff from the car without any worries. It's 321 Bayview Drive, as you see there in the video, and there is a detailed picture of the map with some warnings and precautions about what you might encounter in that area. Again, Stumpy Point is a great place to access the bay, so I will put that on your list. It did amaze me the difference between this side of the Sound and the Outer Banks side of the Sound. I'm not saying it's any better, I'm not saying it's any worse, but it's definitely not as commercial. When you get out onto the Outer Banks, it's more of a vacation destination than it is real, true, hardcore Outer Banks type living. And we really enjoyed driving past all the fisheries to see the fishing boats and the, shall we say, the more real side of of this area. It's such a beautiful area with a lot of good, hardworking people. Traveling further south, again on Route 264, we come to Big Trout Marina and Cafe. Kind of an interesting place, a mix of a fishery and somewhat of a tourist destination. The outdoor cafe, of course, was closed given that it was out of season and pretty cold and blustery that day. But wow, was there a lot of places to park a boat. So I'd have to investigate this further as to the availability of the slips you see in the video. But notice in the background the cabins that overlook the sound. Those are for rent. And if you use the information that you saw on the sign at the beginning of this segment of the video, I'm sure calling ahead and making reservations wouldn't be a problem if they're not already booked. But a wide access point, which gives you, I guess North Pamlico Sound access without any difficulties. Is Englehard Boat Ramp. And of course it's south of Stumpy Point and the other boat ramps we've already mentioned. This boat ramp was a little tighter as far as space goes. Entering and exiting the ramp be a little bit more difficult, but with our size sailboats, not near impossible. So I would again put it on the list as a good go-to ramp for the west coast side of the Sounds, plural. And again, we're getting closer to Pamlico Sound as we go farther south. I do want to point out, though, I didn't notice anywhere it says no overnight parking. So if you were to go out on the Sound and stay overnight on your boat, I'm not sure what the legal ramifications of that would be. But again, so far in all of our boat ramp videos, none of them have posted that there's no overnight parking. And if you notice in the video here, there's plenty of places to park, a truck and trailer. As Amanda and I traveled further southwest, we came upon this little jewel, a wildlife refuge on basically its own lake. Mattamuskeet National Wildlife Refuge was definitely worth a stop, man. You talk about a place to kayak and fish and explore. It just doesn't get any better than this. And this lake, it's in Hyde County. It's the largest natural lake in North Carolina. And this lake covers more than 40,000 acres. It's 14 miles long and 5 miles wide. Lake Mattamuskeet is shallow, fresh water, but it's a coastal lake, and it averages only about 2 to 3 feet in depth. Originally built in 1915, the world's largest pumping station was designed to drain the lake and allow for farming of the rich, fertile soil of the lake bed. On May 19, 1916, the pumping station became operational and could pump over 800,000 gallons of water per minute. At full capacity, the pumping station was capable of pumping 1,200,000 gallons of water per minute and consumed 35 tons of coal every 24 hours. The expense of operating the pumps and keeping the canals open and transporting coal in and crops out proved way too costly. 3 different owners made separate attempts to drain the lakes, but eventually the pumping station was shut down in 1932. Next, Amanda and I found a neat little boat launch within the grounds of the lake. This is just up from the pump station we showed you just now with the lighthouse. This boat launch would make the entire lake accessible, including the little canal that leads to the intercoastal. Now the canal is too small for a sailboat, but kayaks would work perfectly here. At this point in the video, you guys might want to hit pause and take a moment to read the historical markers here. The engineering that was accomplished here is off the hook. It's really neat to see the old engineering practices in place. The time and money and manpower it took to build these things is just remarkable. So pause and check it out. As promised throughout this video, I would mention places that would give you reference for future camping spots, vacation rentals, Airbnbs. So take note of this sign here. You might want to pause it and get the information off of it. These were really nice cabins that you could rent that were on the grounds of the lake itself. So check them out. So we're headed north up the causeway that goes directly to the center of the lake. You can scroll back through and look at that on the reference map at the beginning of this video segment. Now we're crossing the intercoastal. So this is the intercoastal waterway that doesn't connect to the lake, but it is just north of the lake. As we left the lake, we headed west on Route 264 to Swan Quarter. And guess what? We found another boat launch. Really nice boat launch here at Oyster Creek. There were multiple ramps, plenty of parking, wide open parking actually. And again, I didn't see anything that prohibited overnight parking if you wanted to camp on your boat. But that's something that I would strongly advise that you call and get a second opinion on. I'll do the same, and if I find out, of course, I will post that info in another video. But as you can see, the boat ramps here are immaculate, and of course, this gives you full access to the sound. So Swan Quarter Ferry is one of the ferry drops down the west coast of the Sound. Just a quick video here to show you the grounds and the layout of the ferry. Of course, you can call for times and ferry availability. Here's just some random video as we traveled farther south now, southwest to Emerald Isle. And I know it's rough and gritty looking, but I love this part of the Outer Banks, the fishing area where, I don't know, it just seems, like I said before, more real to me to see the boats and all the work being performed to keep the boats running and the fishing industry as a whole. So, on to Emerald Isle. So Man and I traveled from Emerald Island about midway across the island, more west, to Emerald Island boating access area. Again, this is another part of the video where you might want to pause and take a look at all of the information on the boards here. This was probably the largest boat ramp we had encountered on this trip. It really didn't lead to anywhere that I thought desirable to boat. Now, it does give you access to all the estuaries, north of Emerald Island, and there is a lifetime of camping and boating in all of those little estuaries and areas. Again, I didn't see any warnings that prohibit overnight parking. In fact, really the only thing that the warnings said were make sure that if you are parking there, it's for boating activities only. So I think you're pretty safe to park there overnight given the warning signs that we saw. Again, one of the largest boat ramps that we've come across. Here's a panned out view from the access to the road, the main road. Gives you an idea of, the strait there between Emerald Isle and the mainland could probably get a little rough during different tides, so you might want to check that out as well. So here we're traveling to Cedar Island and coming into one of the prettiest wildlife refuges I've ever seen, especially in this